Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
The path of Tropical Storm Imelda continues to pull away from the coast of North Carolina. We'll still have some rain and some wind. I'll show you what we'll expect.
And Tropical Storm Imelda, as Elizabeth just mentioned, moving up the coast. How state emergency management leaders are getting ready for the storm's effects. And today we'll learn more about the suspect in a mass shooting on the coast, what we're expecting to find out during a court appearance and a visit from the governor. Good morning and happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Let's get right over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We're talking about Tropical Storm Imelda and how it could impact us here, Elizabeth.
We're still looking at the potential for some rain, certainly, and some breezy conditions. But boy, the impacts over the weekend continue to shift away from us. You can see here it may become a Category 1 storm by Tuesday. But every track that we've seen over the last 48 hours has continued to pull away from us. And the reason for that is it's going to get pulled eastward by Hurricane Umberto. And we're going to talk more about that pattern coming up. First, what you need to know about this morning is we will see some rain. It'll be fairly scattered, but there could be some pockets where it's on the heavier side, especially as we get into the afternoon. Right now, we're looking at a few light showers across Wake County, as well as Orange, Durham, and Chatham counties, and a few showers down to the south as well. Our chance for rain definitely goes up as we get through the morning to around 70% around midday, and then it stays at 60% on through the afternoon. Not likely to see a lot of lightning and thunder, but we're definitely looking at the potential for some rain. 3 days total, about a quarter of an inch to the north and around an inch to the south. That definitely limits the amount of flooding that we may see. So what is new? Imelda is moving up the Florida-Georgia coast today, but Umberto is going to tug it east tomorrow, and definitely that lowers our rainfall totals. However, of course, we will see some rain, and it's sprinkling there in Apex. You can see wet streets there. 67 is our temperature, and we'll keep it cool today with temperatures in the low 70s. We're going to talk more about specific wind that we'll see coming up.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. This morning, we are watching the tropics as Imelda churns up the coast, and we're not expecting landfall, but we will still feel effects from the storm. WRAL's Laura Levine is outside North Carolina Emergency Management Headquarters this morning, and Laura, Imelda could bring heavy rain to parts of our state.
Michelle, good morning. Here at the Wake County Emergency Management Office downtown, the preparation began days ago. And although it looks like the impacts from Imelda has lessened, they say that they will not let their guards down. Now, Governor Josh Stein issued a state of emergency over the weekend, and this really helps eliminate some of that red tape to help get resources and relief to those impacted the most after the storm passes. The state has assembled 11 swift water rescue crews with more than 100 personnel, 2 urban search and rescue specializing in building collapses, and nearly 400 state National Guard soldiers are on standby.
And ready to quickly and decisively respond to any of the needs that come about from any of our counties or municipalities across the state.
And over the weekend, I was also at the North Carolina American Red Cross office where they were really coordinating efforts. We know that more than 120 volunteers, they tell me, are also on standby, ready to be deployed wherever they're needed the most. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And you can get prepared with the WRAL weather app, track tropical models, and read a Q&A written by our meteorologists. Turn on notifications to get the latest updates. The app is free to download. Today, Governor Josh Stein will be in Southport for a briefing with law enforcement about the shooting there this weekend. 3 people died, 5 others were hurt Saturday night when someone shot from a boat into a restaurant. The suspect is expected in court today. We may learn more about the victims during that appearance. Investigators say 40-year-old Nigel Edge of Oak Island used an AR rifle to shoot at American Fish Company. They call the attack both targeted and highly premeditated. The waterfront restaurant is closing indefinitely, according to a Facebook post. After the arrest, the SBI searched Edge's home and vehicles. They found multiple weapons. Investigators say Edge claims to be a combat veteran with PTSD. Oak Island police say they've had many encounters with him in the past.
Minor contacts over the years, but nothing significant in his past, which would give us any indication that he was capable of such horror. The thread that connects everyone who's a victim in this case to this point just appears to be a love of having a good time and enjoying all that Southport has to offer.
And there is a growing memorial outside American Fish Company. The police chief says the 3 who died were from out of state. Their names have not been released. The Oak Island police chief says Edge frequently hung out at that pier. He has filed numerous lawsuits on the town and police department within the last couple of years. More charges are pending against him. WRAL will have a crew in Southport this afternoon to cover the governor's visit. And right now, emergency crews are at the scene of a crash in Durham County. The crash happened near the intersection of Freeman Road and North Mineral Springs Road. Allie Caldabar just got there in the WRAL breaking news tracker. Allie, what are you seeing there?
Well, Michelle, we just spoke with deputies on the scene about 5 minutes ago. They tell us that the person who was driving this minivan has been arrested, and the person that was on that slingshot, that 3-wheel vehicle that's now loaded on the tow truck, that person is taken to the hospital with injuries. And so we are working to find out some more information, how this crash happened, just the extent of those injuries as well. Again, this is Mineral Springs Road and Freeman Road at this intersection right here. We know this happened within the past hour and a half. Again, a minivan and a slingshot, that 3-wheel vehicle that we can kind of see severely damaged on that tow truck. Again, the person involved in the crash on the slingshot right there was taken to the hospital with some injuries, and the person driving that minivan, we know from Durham County Sheriff deputies on the scene, has been arrested. And so we're working to find out those details. We're going to keep you guys updated. Reporting live in Durham County, Allie Caldabar, WRAL News.
Investigators in Michigan are trying to learn how many people are still missing after a church was set on fire. This happened at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc near Flint. 2 more people were found dead inside the church last night. That brings the death toll to 4 people. 2 others were shot and killed. At least 8 are hurt. 1 is in critical condition. The church building is a total loss from that fire. Crews have not yet been able to search the entire building. 40-year-old Thomas Sanford is accused of ramming his car into the front door of the church before shooting people inside. Sanford was killed by an officer in the back parking lot of the church. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives believes that he used gasoline to set that church on fire. The FBI is investigating this attack as a targeted act of violence. And in the wake of yesterday morning's attack, we're also hearing from the local Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints community. The attack comes one day after the death of church president Russell Nelson at 101 years old. The community in Raleigh says that they are rallying support around those in Michigan, but say the support does not deny the need to address security measures at local churches. Local security expert Patrick Field outlined how the church can do that.
Ballards. With concrete ballards right up front of the entrance where a car cannot penetrate it. Have a security team. You might take, a handful of security guys and give them additional training.
Investigators have not yet determined a motive. They've also not said whether there is a connection between the suspect and the church. Changes could be coming for a 16-year-old motorcyclist accused of hurting a Raleigh police officer during a traffic stop. Police say the motorcyclist was driving carelessly on North Boylan Avenue around midnight on Saturday. The motorcycle started to move during the traffic stop. The officer was temporarily dragged. The officer and motorcyclist suffered minor injuries. And today, the man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk is expected to have a virtual court appearance. Tyler Robinson and his new lawyer are expected to decide whether they want a preliminary hearing. That's when the judge determines if there is enough evidence against him to go forward with a trial. Robinson is accused of shooting Kirk in the neck during an event at Utah Valley University back on September 10th. Investigators have since revealed text messages between Robinson and his roommate, as well as DNA evidence they say connects him to the killing. Robinson is charged with aggravated murder. Prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty. And Johnston County is holding its last voter ID event of the month today to get ready for the general election come November. Today's event will run from 2 to 4 at the Clayton Library. All you need is your voter ID with your name, date of birth, and the last 4 digits of your social security number. It is free. The ID is good up to 10 years. If you cannot make it today, you can always get your voter ID at the Johnston County Board of Elections office from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Coming up on 440 on your Monday morning, a recall alert to tell you about the product you should watch for after Hillshire Farms pulled it from their shelves. And we'll take you live out to Fenton and Cary this morning. Tropical storm Imelda rides the East Coast today, sending some rain our way. Just ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner gives the latest hour-by-hour timing and totals across the Carolinas.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:43, taking a look at satellite and radar. Of course, we are going to see some rainfall from Imelda. And I say it's from Imelda. It's really just a lot of tropical moisture that's moving in front of Imelda. But Imelda is going to end up pulling offshore. And so we're not going to see really major impacts from that storm. But we're definitely seeing a little bit of light rain this morning. We'll zoom in here and you can see over here into Orange County, a little bit of light rain in parts of Wake County. Just some patchy rain starting to move into Johnston County and then back over here across Chatham County as well, and toward Moore County. So it's just a little bit of light and patchy rain right now. It may pick up in intensity a little later on. By mid to late morning, it's about 70% and then 60% as we get into the latter part of the afternoon. Today, total 70%, 80% chance on Tuesday. As that storm continues to pull away, we'll still see some rain. We'll talk about how windy it could be coming up.
President Donald Trump is applying more pressure to his immigration crackdown in response to growing threats against ICE agents. The president is sending troops to Portland, Oregon to protect its ICE facilities, authorizing full force if necessary. State leaders are pushing back on this. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek says there is no need for military troops in Portland, while other state officials say the deployment will only bring chaos to the city. Right now, troops are stationed in multiple cities, including Washington, D.C. and Chicago. The governor of Tennessee says ICE agents are also expected to arrive in Memphis this week. Wake County is kicking off a new rabies awareness campaign. Our area has seen 58 rabies cases so far this year. Franklin County has seen 14, Wake County has seen 10, and there have been 8 cases in Person County. Sunday was World Rabies Day. The Stop Rabies campaign features resources to make it easy to learn more about rabies and spread the word. Health officials remind you to keep your pets up to date with their rabies vaccines, avoid contact with wild, stray, and unknown animals, especially those acting strangely or sick. Also, get medical care immediately if bitten or scratched by an animal. If you see a stray or suspicious animal, you can report it to Wake County Animal Control. The Centennial Authority Building and Construction Committee is meeting later today. One of their items on the agenda is Lenovo Center enhancements. They're expected to discuss the upcoming renovation project. The board will also review the mechanical package. That meeting starts at noon. And Hillshire Brands is recalling 58 million pounds of corn dog and sausage on a stick products. Federal inspectors with the Agriculture Department say the items could have pieces of wood inside. The recall comes after several complaints. At least 5 people were hurt. The products are sold across the country. Anyone who purchased these should throw them out or return them to the store for a full refund. Well, it has been nearly 3 months since Tropical Depression Chantal left several communities devastated from flooding. Chapel Hill's Camelot Village was one of the hardest hit. As WRAL's Kirsten Clark reports, there are worries that more flooding could be on the way.
The aftermath of raging floodwater that made its way inside the homes of many bottom-floor neighbors in Camelot Village, a nightmare that many never saw coming.
We were just in a panic, running through the place, trying to get things up off the ground.
I spoke with a woman who is still living in her water-damaged unit, one of the few, as most first-floor apartments and parking lots are deserted. She asked to remain anonymous as she described her worries about being woken by that same nightmare in the coming days.
I'm terrified of this because I just took all of my money I had saved and put it on a place that we can't move to until October 25th. We have nothing left over to escape this storm from.
And her fear isn't unique. Jackie Tanner shares a similar concern for the unit she owns and rents out. She says she and her husband paid out of pocket to have it remodeled after it was destroyed.
The fact that this building had never flooded before, so to have this happen, now I'm on high alert. I'm seriously do I go to Lowe's and buy sandbags? What are my options?
And one might think those living above the ground floor would have a greater sense of safety, but not Allie Basher.
It's scary. I just know of
what to expect because I've been through it before.
Those expectations include more flooding and debris, power outages, and little help picking up the pieces afterward.
It's kind of like fend for yourself. So we just kind of have to plan ahead and be like, hey, what are you going to do? Because it's just another storm that comes through.
That was Kirsten Clark reporting. Some people have wondered about the possibility of the town diverting water from nearby Bowlin Creek away from the units to prevent future flooding. A town spokesperson previously told WRAL that the property is in a floodway, and given the geography, that is not a feasible option. All right, let's get back over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner talking about Tropical Storm Imelda. Elizabeth.
Yeah, so we're going to start here. You can see both storms. Here's Tropical Storm Imelda, and of course there is Hurricane Umberto. Imelda is moving north at 8 miles per hour, 45-mile-per-hour winds, and the forecast path, every time it comes out, it seems to be a little bit farther to the east, which is wonderful news. It may become a hurricane by tomorrow morning, but you can see how it tracks, and right over Bermuda, potentially as a Category 1 storm. We take a look at Umberto. It has winds at 140 miles per hour, a much stronger storm moving northwest at 14. So it's already going to make that turn. It's likely to be Category 3 as it goes around Bermuda, which is good news. It's still going to be close enough to Bermuda that they will have some probably fairly major impacts as we get into late Tuesday and early Wednesday. So what is happening with these two storms together? So we have a lot of moisture that's been streaming into our area for the last several days. That continues well ahead of Imelda. And then because Umberto is so much stronger, it looks like it's going to be able to pull Imelda away from the coast. Now, we will still end up seeing some rain. Notice how that rain continues well ahead of Imelda, which today is down in the Bahamas. But the rain is pushing into our area already. As the storms get closer together, Imelda gets pulled toward Umberto, and we'll still have some impacts, but watch how it starts to wrap very rapidly right behind, sort of like Umberto tows it away from us, which is definitely good news. We start to dry out on Wednesday. This morning, we're seeing some scattered light rain across the area. At sometimes today, it may be a little bit on the heavy side. Chapel Hill to Durham to Hillsborough, southern Wake County seeing a few light showers right now. We take a look at Futurecast. Notice as we get through the morning that rain really starts to pick up in coverage, but it's not going to be terribly intense. It'll be sort of a steady rain for us. And then on Tuesday, we'll see more waves of rain lifting up across our area. You can see that continues for much of the day on Tuesday. And it's going to be a little breezy. We'll see winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. We're not looking at it. We had flood risk. We're not looking at a flood risk, fortunately. As a matter of fact, all total, we'll probably end up seeing under an inch in our northern counties and maybe a little over an inch down to the south. This morning, again, a few sprinkles, temperatures in the upper 60s. This afternoon, temperatures stay in the low 70s. We have rain in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but we're not expecting any widespread flooding out of this situation. We do dry out, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Weekend of Pride. For 3 days, people took over Durham Central Park celebration. They say the festival is especially important this year. We'll tell you why. Plus, a big stage for Bad Bunny, his Super Show announcement coming up in February. Puerto Rican music star Bad Bunny will headline the Super Bowl 60 halftime show. The NFL and Apple Music made that announcement last night. The three-time Grammy award-winning artist recently wrapped up his 31-date residency in San Juan. You can watch the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny right here on WRAL on February 8th. A reunion in the West Wing, plus a Pokemon update. Here's David Daniel, today's Hollywood Minute.
A terribly flawed woman is now the president, and only we know just how flawed.
Flawed or not, Allison Janney is back for season 3 of The Diplomat and beyond. Netflix says Janney and her old West Wing pal Bradley Whitford will go from guest stars to series regulars in season 4, which begins production this fall. Netflix also announced Haunted Hotel will return for a second spooky season.
Building owner caught her vandalizing his property.
Ava, it's one of your dad's murals.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Tuesday's High Potential has Ava in trouble, and actress Amira J says that's just a taste of what's ahead for her character.
Ava kind of starts poking her nose where it doesn't belong and trying to be a detective in a way and try to figure things out herself and kind of go behind her mom's back a little bit, which doesn't make her mom very happy.
The Pokemon Company has released a limited edition pack for the Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket app. Deluxe Pack EX is available now through October 29th, with each pack guaranteed to include a card of 4 diamond rarity or higher. The app is available for Android and iOS devices. Catching them all in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
People filled Durham Central Park this weekend to celebrate Pride. We saw people out enjoying the vendor and food truck market. They say going to Pride Durham NC is a great way to get to know others in the community. This year, the LGBTQ Center of Durham hosted the event without financial support from the county. Leaders say risks and threats tied to federal funding as the reason the county pulled its sponsorship. Ahead at 5, the latest on the mass shooting on our coast, what investigators are learning about the suspect, and Governor Stein plans to visit today. And unknown charges. Users of a fitness app say it charged them for services they didn't sign up for. 5 on your side reveals the pattern of complaints.